Hello everyone, it's Angie here at Beads and Plenty More. Today I thought I'd show you this bracelet with the leather and wire. So it's kind of a mixed media bracelet, and I built the clasp on this one as well. So I've got my 2mm leather here, and what you want to pick out is you want to pick out a few beads that have large holes that will fit on this leather. I happen to have a 12mm ceramic bead, and then I've picked a couple of metal spacers on either side. And I've cut about 8 inches for this center cord. This is 2mm leather. And then I've picked up 2 pieces of 9 inches of 2mm leather, and I'm going to fold these in half. And I'm just going to lay my first one like this. And then the second one is going to come from underneath. And it's going to slip through on either side of my center leather. Just even those up so that my cording is all even at the ends. And that's how you create the center of your bracelet. So now that I've got that, I'm going to use some little clamps to hold it in place. So I'm just clipping one on each side. And we're going to create some wraps. Now this is 18 gauge half round wire. And the reason that you want to use the half round is because it's got this flat side on the inside, and it makes it easier to do these bindings because it holds close to the cording. So I guess I should show you how I did that first little hook. So I'm just going to take my needle nose pliers and I'm going to fold it over. And I offset it a little bit just to get started. So I'm just going to secure it on here, and then I can take and hold with my pliers across it, and then just bend the wire over. So I'm going to create a wrap that's about 4 or 5 wraps long. Just squeezing down to hold it on. Okay, now when it comes to ending this off, I want to make sure that my ends end up on the inside of my bracelet. So I'm going to cut. And then fold in. Now if you're worried about those ends jabbing you or poking up, you could also take a little bit of glue and tack them down as well. So same deal for the other side. I'm starting with about 6 inches of wire here, which is more than enough, but you don't want to run too short on it. So I got it started. Gonna hold across it to get the next wrap in. And I did 5 on that side, so we'll do 5 on this side too. You may notice I've got a little extra hook here. I can either pull that out, or sometimes I'll just wrap an extra wrap and I'll take that first wrap off, because I find sometimes it just doesn't work in no matter what you do. 2 sides done. Now, I know that this is too long, and I'm working for about a 7-inch finished length. So I'm going to take it, and I know that the clasp that I want to put on takes about 1 inch or so. So I want about a 6-inch finished length, and anything beyond that is extra. You still want to cut your cord a little bit long, because you'll find that sometimes one of your cords will shift a little bit, and if you have it just exact length and it shifts, then you're in trouble, because you're going to have to go back and redo your wrap. And I think I might have got that off center, but we'll keep going, because I'm not cutting as much off of this side as I cut off the first side. So there we go. And I'm going to grab an end that I can glue in. So when it comes to picking out an end for your cording, you've got 2mm cording times 3, so you need to have at least 6mm as an inner diameter. And then I'm just going to use some E6000 to glue it. So I'm just going to put a bit into the actual cord end. And one trick I actually had is just to keep everything nice and even and so on. Once I got those in, I used my cord end again to just hold everything flat and even while I let that dry. So I'll glue the other one in, and I'll show you the finished product at the end of the video. But let's move on to this clasp. So this is a clasp that is done out of wire. I'm using 18 gauge wire here. I did experiment around a little bit, and this is 18 gauge square wire. And I also did one out of 20 gauge wire. I found the 20 gauge wire one was a little bit thin. It would still work, but it's on the thinner side. The 18 gauge square wire just seemed a bit too much. So this was kind of a happy medium. So this is 18 gauge round wire. And I'm just gonna grab my round nose pliers. I've cut about 5 inches here. And I'm going to create my first loop. And sometimes I'll take it just past a little bit. Then I just want to switch over to a flat plier, because every time you hold with the round nose pliers, you're going to put a mark on the wire. So these flat pliers put less marks on the wire, and I don't have to worry as much about that. And I'm just creating a nice little wrap. When I get around to that point, I'll just put a definite bend in the wire. So there we go. Bring it around the outside. And then I want to form back my hook. So it's going to come back around. You can freehand it. Sometimes having a pen or something that's just a little bit thicker than your pliers comes in handy for this, because you just need something to form it around. And I've got that just a little bit long. I'll trim just a little bit off, because I think by the time I get that extra little loop in. So then we just need a little loop. Now, you have to think about the fact that this has to hook through your end, so you need to make it fairly tiny. So towards the tips of the pliers, right at the end of the wire, and just bring it back. So there we go, there's the clasp. And I am going to work hard in that. So what that means is I'm tapping on it a bit, and it's going to create a flatter side on it, but it's less likely to pull. So if I happen to catch my bracelet on something, it would be less likely to break. It would be less likely to pull away and create havoc there. So I'm just going to pull this guy off, and I'll show you how these kind of attach in. So once you've got it work hardened and everything, you're just gonna, and if you're smart, you make the loop small enough. That's not quite small enough. So you hook it in, and then just the first side comes around, and you can bring that in again. And then the second side just hooks in. And that's what your bracelet looks like when it's done. So I'll finish off the black one and show you a picture of the black one finished as well. You have a good day.